Women for credible election and how to protect their votes is what we focus on this segment of the interview. And we do have Kathy Latiwa Amato. She's the project advisor, Inclusion and Gender European Center for Electoral Support. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. What's your assessment of the participation of women in Nigeria's election coming up tomorrow, and of course 2nd of March?
We are very happy to see that Nigerian women are committed. They are ready to participate and to get out tomorrow to vote. I'm saying this because, you know, the European Center for Electoral Support under the EUSDGN, which is European Support to Democratic Governance in Nigeria, on our first component, support to INEC, we have organized many activities to encourage women to come out, to register and to collect the PVC. We want around 6 geopolitical zones and around Nigeria to talk to women, to INEC gender desk officers, as well as civil society organization. And we know that there is still a long way to go, but women are ready to come out tomorrow.
So what about those involved in the election as well as candidates? Do you think the number, the percentage, representation, is it close to what the threshold is for, your organization?
As you know, as women constitute half of the population here in Nigeria, and comparing to the demography, and the participation of women in politics in Nigeria, I think it's not balanced, unfortunately, but there is an improvement. That's what I can say. There is an improvement of the commitment of women to be candidates, to participate to the political and the electoral process, not only as voter, but as candidate as well. You know, with others, stakeholders, partner in the EUSDGN project, as Yaga that I saw a few minutes ago here, they've been going around to sensitize and do voter education for young women, and like Nigerian Women Trust Fund as well. They've been training candidates. So yes, there is a good number. Even still, the balance is not yet there according to the number of population of women in Nigeria, but there is hope.
What do you think is responsible for that, for the lack of, that close balance?
I will not say that there is one organization or another who is responsible of that. We are all concerned. Each citizen in Nigeria, each woman is concerned to the process. Stakeholders, INEC, are doing the best. You know, there is the gender policy, INEC gender policy, who is trying to put access, to create an environment for women to participate in the electoral process. We have stakeholders like civil society organizations that I've just cited before, who are also doing the best, going around the country to educate women in the importance of having them in the process. So they are all doing the best, but each women also need to be aware to try to get out, to get informed as well. So it's not only a question of a segment of a population, but it's a question of each citizen, of all Nigerians.
You think there are societal pushbacks?
Pardon?
Do you think there are societal pushbacks?
There is some barriers, yes, cultural barriers, religious, founding as well, but there have been a conversation and dialogue, with religious leaders, with traditional rulers, to see how to facilitate the access of women in different segments and parts of the country. So there is much who has been done, even if it's a process, everything cannot be done in 1 year, in 2 years. It's slowly but surely we are getting there.
Now let's talk about the voting population of women. And INEC released the voting population recently. I think women constitute about 47–48% of the voting population. Now, how is ECIS working with civil society organizations to encourage women to go out, to vote, to protect their votes at the grassroots level?
As I said earlier, in our activities in support to INEC, as well in collaboration with civil society organizations as Nigerian Women Trust Fund, JONAPID, which is the National Giant of People with Disabilities, Albino Foundation, and many others, we have organized a training workshop in educating women in the electoral process, for them to be aware of how to vote, what is the process, the voting process, what are the rights to be in the level, international standard level as well about the electoral and political process. We've built capacity, so we want to different geopolitical zones, where we met also civil society who work directly with communities and population. We had 2 or 3 organizations who as well goes like door by door to talk to women, to tell them you are important, you can be part of the population. We have done that, those workshops. We've also produced some jingles, you know, in different languages,
okay.
in different languages that are out now on INEC website, AKS website, and on YouTube. We've produced also a song, election song, you know, on don't sell your vote, for example. So all these are in different languages, using, you know, the tools that population are close to.
Latifa, so far, has the organization been able to measure the impact of some of these efforts?
Yes.
What are you finding out?
Positively, yes, because few weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, we have organized under another project, which is PEV-ED, Preventing Electoral Violence and Education for Inclusion, a work for peaceful and massive turnout, where we have invited women to come out to work with us in different markets. We did it with the Association of Trade Women, and we had in total more than 3,000 women who came with us, not only market women, but also civil society organizations. We went to Wuse Market, to Gwagwalada, to Nasarawa, and we were really surprised to see how women were ready. And also a few weeks ago, we went to Adamawa in Yola, IDP camp. And I can tell you, in one of the camp, Fufure, 90% of registered people who had the PVCs, and women, most of them were women coming from Borno, and they get the PVC, they bring them. If you go to our website, you will see the pictures. We were really surprised to see them with the PVC, getting ready to vote, asking questions about the polling station, polling unit, you know. So we are happy for the work we've done since 2017 June. We still have a few years to come, as we are here till 2022.
Let's go back to the statistics. Sorry, Tibe. Back to the statistics of the voting population. What is being done to encourage more women, I mean, beyond this election, more women, because I do know EKIS is a 5-year program, so they have enough time to cover grounds. What is being done to encourage women, more women, to go out to register, get their PVCs, and participate in governance? Because election is just one arm of governance and democracy.
We've created some dialogues between different segments and industry of women, you know, for them to exchange their experience. We had some platform where different women, scholar, activists, politician women came to talk and exchange to see where are the challenges, the issues, how to improve them, you know, to also this documentary that we just produced with INEC, you know, where we are educating about the history of Nigerian women, where they came from, why at some point the voice were lost, and how to improve it. You know, all this have been done is sensitization, voter education through this documentary, through platforms. We still have more activities to come as a resource center where different type of people, not only women, youth, people with disabilities, can go get informed about the process, about the governance and the political process. As well, we had this comparative analysis, you know, between in different platforms, talking about, you know, the history of different countries in Africa, like Ethiopia, Liberia, Rwanda, to see why you know, why they are going further, how women did to get involved in the governance, you know, how impact the participation of women have been done in those countries. Of course, we cannot really compare because Nigeria is the giant in Africa. You know, the reality are maybe different, but at least we can get some lessons from those countries.
I was going to ask you, but you kind of answered a part of it. Why should we be concerned about how many women are registered to vote, or how many women should be participating actively in politics and seeking, you know, elections into public offices? Why should we be concerned?
Women are the power of a country. You know, when you see in other countries where women are involved in the governance, where they are in table of decision, you can see how it impacts the economy of a country. Just let's talk about those market women that we met a few weeks ago. Everybody goes to the market every day, and most of the people in the market, they are women. They are economic power of a country, and you see when they have also this sensibility in different issues like health, social life, that they can bring you know, they can bring something, they can add something in a country. So also, you know, they are half of the population. So imagine if they can be part of decision making, they can bring a lot, not only alone, but also with men, because we are not talking about only women being part of the decision, but a balance, a qualified balance in the governance. That's why we are encouraging women to be trained, to have a good level, you know, to have good strategy so that they can be a quality, they can have a quality participation in the process.
All right. Interesting that you're talking about quality participation. Of course, we're looking at societal and cultural context in this as well. The numbers that have been registered women, I think, looking at the figures put out by INEC, about, my colleague mentioned earlier, 14.10% as housewives. That's about 11.844 million. We are not talking about women in other, you know, demographic components captured in the data of INEC, for instance, women as students, women as public servants, women and the number of those involved in fishing and farming and the rest of it. But for housewives alone, we're seeing 11 plus million. Recently, we heard a story from Plateau State where a man divorced his wife because the wife said, I'm going this way. The husband said, no, I'm going this way. And you can't go this way. You come this way. You forced me to go the other way the last time. I mean, these kind of things are funny stories, but they're a reflection of reality of what happens in different societies. Yeah, as much as you're talking about the number of women who should come out, who should register, who should come out, how really are their voices going to be amplified? Do you have fears that it's possible that even when they have the PVCs, their voices may not really have the kind of implication you need in terms of them making their own choices based on their own feelings and convictions?
That's why, you know, we have this voter education as well, and we have also this conversation with leaders of community, and that's why we are calling at also men, you know, to understand the importance of having a voice. You know, I think you can be in a couple and having different view. That's not mean you are not a couple or you cannot do things better. You know, what we are trying to tell women, you still have to have your voice, and you still have to have your choice, even if it's not the choice of anyone else. You understand? So. Also, we've been talking about violence against women. It can be not only physical violence. It can be, you know, how do you say it? Word, you know, emotional, or this. We are also sensitizing about that, because when you are with your husband, is telling you you cannot vote for this one because I'm voting for this one, even if it's not. It's a kind of you know, they're trying to tell you what to do. Yeah. So we are educating about that, and this is a process, as I was saying, and is a process that where we need all stakeholders to come with us as media. You know, we need media as a stakeholders to talk about those issues and to encourage women not to give up, to still come out, you know, not to give up, to still come out and to still make the choice, because they know better what is important for them, the family and the community.
All right. You tell us about, you have a documentary you said that's
Voice
going
of
to
the
air. What was the idea behind that documentary, and what message are you trying to sell?
We are trying to tell women that you are very important, that your voice is important, and we are trying to tell them, look where we came from, look where Nigerian women in governance came from, and why you have to be part of the decision making, to be part of governance, to be part of democracy. We are talking about the history, we are talking about the challenges, we are talking about some women in the process, where they come from, what they live, to be where they are. So we are also talking about the stakeholders, how the stakeholders have been helping women, so women can be aware in the situation, and they can be aware in how to improve the situation and why it's very important for them to be part of the process. And through documentary, as you know, women like movies, and is a kind of story, so we hope to have more women to follow it as well as men, so that they can change the narrative of history of women in politics in
The
Nigeria.
last phrase, they said, as well as men, so that
Yes.
they can change the narrative.
Yes.
Do you think perhaps the content in that documentary could, have some level of attraction for men, something men would want to see, and make the change that women would like to see?
Yes, we have. Yes, there is few content talking to men as well. We have in the documentary, there is one pastor talking about his life and talking about his daughters, saying that I have 3 daughters and I will never force them to do what they don't want to do. And I have 3 daughters, each of them are different. One is girly, she like pink. Mm-hmm. One she like doing engineering stuff. Mm-hmm. So he's a man, he's a typical man working in an environment and trying to give us example of why women should be important in the part of decision making. So there is a lot of spots where women will be interesting. So they should watch it, I think, 9 a.m. today in AIT and others channels, as well as in INEC websites, European Center for Electoral Support website, and YouTube.
All right. Thank you so much for being here with us, and good job with your documentary as well. The message is out there for men as well, to allow women flourish.
Indeed.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Kathy Latiwa Amato, Project Advisor, Inclusion and Gender, European Center for Electoral Support. Well,
all right, it's a wrap. The week is gone.
You have your PVC?
We've been
I
talking
asked you
about
this question.
Sally.
Yesterday. What? Okay, what? All right. If you have
my job is a journalist as well as yours.
Oh, yes,
so we'll be reporting what's happening across the country, of course, bringing it to you as it happens, as it breaks. Live updates here on Africa Independent Television, AIT. Don't miss any second. Of course, Ray Power Studios would be hooked up live as well, so do follow us on all the details, as far as also our social media platforms as well, Twitter, Facebook.
Yes, so have yourself a wonderful voting period. I am Salamatu Ibrahim.
We'll come back up Monday to talk about the outcome. Join us on the flip side of the weekend. I am Mutabal Moran.